Hello everyone, welcome back to Tell Us Trick. Today we'll be making a nice shirt. A shirt you can use for your casual outing, your corporate outing, and all sort of outing. So I'll be showing you all details and information you need to make a very clean and a well-finished shirt. As you can see the details I'm showing you. So if up till now you're yet to still subscribe to this channel, please subscribe, as you would give me the mental energy to keep on producing good materials and then good tutorials for you to learn from. So the first thing we are doing is laying down our fabric and then folding the placket of the shirt. So now this placket, we are not putting any extra gum, as the material is a see-through material and is light. So we're not putting any extra gum on the placket, we're just folding the material double. And then the base for the buttons folded once with the allowance to be folded. I will still explain that later on. Make sure you are using something that has weight to press down the pattern paper in order not to shift or move while cutting. We place this pattern we've cut it out on our shirt pattern drafting. Already on this channel there's a shirt pattern drafting. I will attach the link to the description of this particular video, so you can go and learn how to pattern your shirt if you are yet to see that. But if you've seen that, you're just going to take your shirt pattern and just place it on the fabric to cut out. So we're cutting out our shirts, our pattern which we've made already. That's the back pattern we just took out, and I'm about to cut out for the sleeve. So before you cut out any pattern, you make sure you press and then it's aligning well to avoid mistakes and then excesses. So you cut out the sleeve accurately. Fold your pattern paper and keep it neatly for next time usage. So also this for the collar, there's also a video on this channel about how to cut your collar and then mark it into sizes that you can cut for any neck. So now we'll just use our pattern for the collar as well to just take out our collar, to trim our collar. So taking our collar, and this gum is not a thick gum, it's a cloth gum. It's soft because the material we're using, the fabric we're using is soft. And this is for the wristband. The wristband, you design the edge as you want it. This is curved, but sometimes you can just make it slant, but this particular one is curved. So for the sleeve placket, I still use this cloth gum to cut it out so as to give it more shape and a very good finish. So you see, I'm using 1 inch width and then a length of 5.5 inch to cut it, and then make sure I cut them out V, and then make sure the sides are straight. So we're done cutting both the collar, the wristband, and then the sleeve placket. Now we interface the material with a paper gum. Not so that the material have a bit thickness, and then it doesn't show the collar gum directly inside. Since the material is a see-through material, it doesn't show the collar gum inside. Sorry, the cloth gum. So now we're gumming the cloth gum for the collar. You just make sure everything is well gummed. This is the collar. We're still gumming the smaller part of the collar. We'll gum the wristband. So you make sure you gum something to make your work easy and fast. After cutting, you gum all of these on the table, You make sure everything you need to sew is gummed and arranged, so as when you just go to your sewing machine, you don't come and spend more time on the table. You just come to the table to press just little things, and then in no long time you would finish your clothes very fast. But once you don't ensure time to press, you take a lot of time pressing. Okay, this is the sleeve placket. This is the sleeve placket I'm creating. So just watch carefully. So this would ensure that the sleeve placket is being done neatly and then sits very well. So anytime you want to use any gum on the sleeve placket, use a very light gum, like cloth gum. Cloth gum is fine, very light gum, so that place is not too thick. So this is also the smaller part of the sleeve placket. So you take the sleeve, you measure for where to place your sleeve placket. So normally I measure the sleeve divided by 2, like the half of the sleeve divided by 2, and then I add half inch going to the center. So that's how so as you can see, the edge is bigger than from the placket side to the center. So that's how I check that. So I take the smaller plackets, I folded and then gum. Then the main sleeve placket I infused and then still gum on the table before going to the sewing machine. So you see, it's a lot of work for me on the sewing machine. When you just sit on the sewing machine, you just go on with your job, and then it's neat. That's the most important thing, is neat. So you can see how I set it, and then now I'm down to the sewing machine. So I start preparing my wristbands, and then so this method, you fold the allowance for the wristband over the wrists, over the cloth gum you used. You fold and you sew, as you can see I'm doing here. Make sure your stitches are neat, and then cut out every excess every thread after sewing. I trim the excess. You turn it and make sure it's neatly turned. So I love infusing the wristband instead of attaching it before turning it inside. So if you want to just infuse the wristband, this is the way you sew. You just follow this step, and then you'll see how to infuse a wristband. Which infusing a wristband, I actually feel it gives me a better finishing than sewing before pushing it inward. Go straight to making the collar. So the bigger part of the collar. That's the upper part of the collar. You also sew. You trim all the excess. Then you carefully turn it. Make sure you're turning it in such a way that it is neatly turned. So after turning, you can as well go and press it first. But I'm sewing on the edge, so I can just control that here. But for beginners, it is most advisable you go to the table and press, then come back to do your stitches. So you make sure you mark the center of the collar as much as you've marked the collar, the cloth gum as well. So marking all the centers, so as when joining them together, you attach them through the centers, not making a mistake of making it not balanced, going one-sided. You stitch at the edge, you make sure you backstitch. At the end of each sewing, you make sure you backstitch so as to avoid it from losing up. So make sure it's balanced and then stitch around it. But as I've said earlier on, you can always go to the table to press this before you stitch. For beginners, it's always better so you have a flat look and a clean look. So this is how the collar will be looking after we're done. So now we go back to the sleeve. As you remember, we've done our placket on the table, so we're just going to just basically stitch, and it's faster that way. After doing that on the table, after doing all this on the table, it doesn't take you up to an hour, or let's say maximum an hour, to just fix up a shirt like this. So you cut, then you trim. you fold the pleats. The sleeves drip, you just fold them according to how you want them to look. Then for the front, this is the smaller part. This is the part for the button. I said I would be explaining. So you see, I folded like half an inch inside, then sew on top of it. So anything you're folding should have space that you can fold half an inch inward. So I love the front of my shirt not having any that's for the buttonhole side, not having any stitches, so I'm not stitching that front. The buttonhole is actually would be holding the materials down. And so I'm joining the shoulders with the back. It doesn't have the back doesn't have any interface, so I'm just going directly. So you sew the back with the front, then the next thing you weave the shoulders and then press. So I've weaved my shoulder and then pressed. As you can see, the yoke is already showing, and then the center line. So what you do is, joining the sleeve and the body, you always start from the center. I advise you not to start from the beginning, because you want the center line of the yoke for the body of the shirt, and then the center line of the sleeves to align so the shirt sits well. So you start joining from the center and go one direction and sew from the center to the other direction. So make sure you're cutting out all the threads, all the excess threads. And repeat the same thing for the other shoulder. So now we are attaching the body. You measure the size of your wristband, and then you sew the allowance you've added to the measurement while cutting. You sew out the allowance, but you can always put your tape to verify. You can always put your tape to verify if the numbers are adding up, if the chest is still same as you intended to use, and all that. Don't just go sewing without checking. So you check and then take out the allowance, the remaining allowance. So we repeat the same thing for the other sleeve, for the other side, the other seam of the body. And then after that, we just have to fold down of the shirt. Fold down of the shirt. As you can see, the placket here is not gummed and then is not sewn on, so it's just free. We're just using buttonhole to hold it down, and then it's also a fine finish. So fold down of the shirt and make sure it's neat. So we just folded down of our shirt. So this is what I was telling you, how I love to just insert this the wristband, not attach and then fold inward. So I just insert. You see, I just insert and make sure it's at the edge, and then I sew only once. Insert and then sew, insert and then sew. So after doing this for this particular wristband, you repeat the same thing for the other wristband. You make sure you insert the sleeve very well, and then the edges are fine and looking good. So as you can see, we're done fixing our wristband and it's looking clean. So now we'll fix the collar. So you make sure you recheck the size of the collar. You check the wideness of the collar or of the neck, and then make sure it's giving you the same measurement as the collar before you fix. So as much as you want to just put the collar, but I would advise you go halfway, sew halfway and then stop, and then turn to the other side and then sew from that place to meet where you stopped earlier. This ensures that the collar starts from the beginning of the placket. The collar starts from the beginning of the placket, giving you a very straight edge and very good finishing. Because some material stretches a bit and then you end up having a little excess pointing out, or if it's dragging and then you end up having a little knot reaching to the end of the collar. But this method, it ensures that everything looks balanced. And after this, you make sure you just turn in your collar carefully and then neatly. Make sure you carefully do this to avoid it not looking clean. So the same thing, I sew halfway and then still stop, and then I turn to the other side and complete, to ensure that my edges are sitting right. So we're finishing, we're almost done with our shirt. So if you're still here and you're enjoying our tutorial videos, please subscribe to our channel. Subscribe so we can be encouraged to give you more good tutorial. When you subscribe, we have the mental energy to keep creating. I can tell you for sure there are lots more coming your way. Final thing you need to do is to press every of your stitches, the lines, to make sure your threadings are neat and the shirt is balanced. Press your collar, your wristband, and all your seam lines. You press them down, the folding line, you press everything down, and then have a wonderful shirt. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.